we're not really big fans. We're not big fans of the Twitter sphere, the moral universe of the Twitter sphere. So there's various what we think to be hashtag campaigns. We're not a fan of boycotts. We're not a fan of the idea of boycotting Made in Russia vodka. Right now, I have in my hand Made in Russia vodka. What a big sin. Great. Well, whatever. Um, so this idea of these campaigns and stuff, um, basically these companies need to stop doing business. Look, we have never, forget about the Ukraine conflict. We have never been a fan of moralizing anything or anybody. The only thing we believe in is basically the concept of your own inner intrinsic nature, your own inner Slabova, which is going to be unique to the individual person. We're not here to moralize you. We're not here to moralize uh, anybody or anything. So we frankly don't even feel like we fit in with the society, and especially with respect to this. Forget about the Russia-Ukraine. This hashtag moral campaigns. It just drives us off the walls, man. Um, we're not huge fans of that. So this whole idea, we're not really fans of narration. Um, we're fans of mountains, like this mountain, other mountains. We're not gonna once we're back in Nevada, home means Nevada. We're not gonna be going to the same places. We're gonna be going up some very different and unique peaks and summits. But just wanted to, briefly talk about this hashtag moralism and before this stuff and some of the tweets from, for example, watching one of the tweets from the Ukraine embassy got a lot of what we think to be a reverse moralism. For example, one thing they were saying basically that look, in 2022, um, there's people tragically dying of dehydration, and then there was this backlash saying, what about the conflict in Yemen, in Syria, you name it. So we're not here to moralize for or against Ukraine or anyone else. Um, and here's the thing. Here's a very frank discussion. There's this idea. Okay, so if people talk about the devil in sheep's clothing, we have no problem with the devils. We're not really fans of basically the concept of the devils in sheep clothing. Basically, if we believe a certain thing, we're not gonna try to moralize virtue, you know, virtualize ourselves. For example, looking at you know, what we felt to be a professional service opportunity, a legitimate lawful service opportunity, we're not going to go here and preach about how we're on a crusade to defend um, European democracy and stuff like that. We respect everyone's sincere convictions, but if we're not on some moral crusade, we're sure as heck not going to preach and act like we're on some type of moral quest. We saw a professional contract opportunity, lawful, legitimate, authorized, looking to serve. But we're not on some type of moral campaign, and if we're not on a moral campaign, we're not going to come out and say we're here to defend some higher level values, because we're not. And if we're not, why are we going to say we are? So so the concept, the devils in sheep clothing, well, we prefer the devils in devil's clothing, not in no sheep clothing, and we're not going to put on no sheep clothing. So once we're back in Nevada, we're going to do a little brief foray, tryout. It's not a high stakes thing. We feel physically, very ready for it. But we're not going to study hard. We're not here with pencil and eraser making diagrams and practice. We're not going to do a single second of studying. It's not really with respect to the Legion, but we really do not like studying at all. So for us, no shame to flunk any type of academic test. We we're not going to study. No to studying for us. But regardless, not high stakes. We're not here looking for a career. Um, did we get in? We're not going to jump for joy, leap for the skies. Gonna keep a commitment, personal commitment, really just a personal commitment. We're not here to If we don't feel like, going through with the commitment, we'll just say, forget it. It's not for anyone else. It's to ourselves. And we'll be hitting some really awesome peaks and summits. And part of the love for the mountains is like, all right, so you want to get in, so it's common sense, all right. So, um, for example, young folk, they're waiting for, did I get into this, you know, university of my dreams or something? Did I pass an interview, for a career or something? The beautiful thing about the mountains, and we kind of like the mountains over the idea of chasing storms requires a lot of cognitive thinking and planning, but the mountain is static. If you're stubborn enough, the three qualifications: if you're stubborn, and if you're stubborn, um, you'll probably conquer that summit. So, I mean, you can't really, uh, you can't really force someone to give you a career. Uh, if you can't just randomly show up, you'll probably get arrested or something, right? So, uh, but the mountain is a beautiful place. That's all. That's all we got to say about that. And we're not really fans of this whole idea of boycott this, boycott that. We really just can't stand any type of the so-called hashtag moralism. We can't stand the moralism, and we certainly will not be moralizing um, anyone. And there's different prophecies out there about, like, what's happening in the world. Here's our perspective, frank perspective. We we adhere to a man-centered philosophy, not literally man, but human being centered philosophy. So the man-centered philosophy, we believe that the great warriors on the ground, the Ukrainian soldiers, if we're talking about gods and titans, the men and women sacrificing on the ground, they are the prophecy and its fulfillment. They are the prophecy and its fulfillment. There are people with, basically their concept of what is prophecy. Well, they voice their opinion on the platform, and we have the right to voice our opinion with the concept of the divinity of the human spirit. And with the concept of the divinity of the human spirit in mind, we don't care if this seems squeamish to people. They don't like it. Lake Mead the range is a pretty big place. Um, they can find their own beach at any place they choose on beautiful Lake Mead. But the concept of the divinity of the human spirit, again, of God's titans and prophecies, we sincerely believe that the prophecy and the fulfillment are the great men and women of Ukraine on the ground. They are the prophecy and its fulfillment. We make no predictions. Peace.